I'm here with Paul of Cannibal Corpse to talk about Chaos Horrific out September 22nd on Metal Blade Records. We also want to talk a little bit about that tour that they're going to be embarking on very soon in support of this record. Welcome to the channel. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
So 16th record, is it becoming harder or easier to pump out Cannibal Corpse albums?
Well, I mean, it seems like we're having some pretty good luck, apparently. If we can, average an album every 2 years, I guess, for 35 years now, right? So I guess we're doing all right. So it doesn't seem to be too difficult. I think if it was, then we wouldn't be releasing an album, right now. We'd have, we'd be out of ideas, out of just not being creative enough or what have you. So I mean, I think it's business as usual. This is what we do. This is what we've been doing. When we need to create, we do create. I mean, that's the way we've always worked. Um, like I said, we're putting out on average an album every 2 years now, and that comes down to being on a schedule like that. And we know what's gonna how we work. You finish a tour, a cycle, and you got studio time lined up. You know when you're going to write those songs, when you're going to record them, all those kinds of things, and that's how we've done it our whole career. So I think it's just we're fortunate to have guys in the band that have that creative output always. So when we need to do it, we do it, and we get it done. So I think it's like I said, luckily for us, it's pretty much just business as usual.
When it comes to Cannibal Corpse, there's always been a part of the band that has that DNA of pushing the envelope, either be with the album artwork, obviously with the lyrical content, and I'm not even talking about the brutality of the sound. When you look at today's modern day, where everybody's super sensitive about everything, everybody gets offended over everything, do you guys even think about that in terms of maybe we're going too far or not going far enough? What's your take on it?
Yeah, we've just done our thing. That's it. That's another thing. We just do what we want to do and always have. Of course, right. It's brutal death metal. It's going to be pretty insane, pretty, controversial, I guess, depending on who's looking at it, right? So I think we just do our thing. That's it, and we don't let anything bother us, or any outside influence, or any outside negativity, or what have you. Just dictate what we're going to do. We just do what we want to do, and I think that's been an amazing thing with this band, that we've been able to do that since day one. Have that creative control in every aspect, and right. So one of those things you just don't think about. You just do. We just do what we do, and let the chips fall where they may, and just hope that everybody's enjoying the ride as much as we are.
When you start the process of writing a new album, do you come in with a mindset of knowing what you want, or do you come in with a mindset of knowing what you don't want?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one for me to answer fully, because of course I'm not one of the main songwriters. This would be more something like Alex, of course, being there since the very beginning and writing a lot of our songs, and then yes, having Eric and Rob write the songs as well. I mean, obviously, I'm involved in that as too, but not like those guys writing the bulk of the material, and the riffs, and the structures, and all that kind of a thing. So, I'd say it just comes from within at that given moment. I mean, you're given a short window of time to create, right? For instance, yes, we know we're going in to record an album, and okay, well, we got to get this is when we're going in to record, and this is when the songs need to be completed. So here's your writing time, and it's only ends up being what, maybe 5, 6, 7 months or something for that little given window, and so whatever you create that's what's going to be there. So I think. I just think that's what those guys feel at that given time. I also believe the fact that we've been doing it for so long, and we've probably evolved or honed, I should say, maybe our songwriting. You would think you're becoming better at that and your musicianship and all this kind of thing. So I think it's just a matter of trying to write the better song than maybe you've done in the past. And it's going to be a little bit different. It's all Cannibal Corpse, of course, but at the same time, I think you want to throw in some subtleties, something that maybe you just didn't do before, perhaps. Yeah, I think it's just kind of what comes from within, like I was saying, you have this time period to write and this is what you get. And there's not a lot of overthinking or anything, because if there was, we wouldn't be able to get it done then, you just, this is the time period you got, you come up with these songs and there you go. And that's what we've done our whole career.
When it comes to your drum sound, do you approach each record differently in terms of where you want that drum sound or how you want that drum sound to come across in the mix, or you already have pretty much the sweet spot of that placement in order for you to get the essence of Cannibal Corpse?
Yeah, I mean, I leave a lot of that, most of it, down to our producers. That's why you have them. You have the guys that are there recording you and working on that, the sonic side of it. So I don't get too much involved. I know what I want, and it's as simple as like, well, I like a fuller kick drum sound, or let's make the drum sound as natural as possible. And that's pretty much as far as I go. So a lot of it comes down to maybe equipment that's used and miking techniques and things like that. But yeah, I don't think any of us get too much in the way of like the producer these days. I mean, back in the early days, maybe we were a little bit more hands-on. It was all new to us, and everyone's got maybe a stronger opinion and all this. Well, we've been doing it long enough now, and we just want a great sounding record. We want everything to obviously fit in its place and just to sound good overall. And that's, you have to work as a team in that regard. I can't be sitting here going, well, I need the drums to be louder than anything else, or vice versa, the guitars or the bass, or we'd never get anything done. It would just be a big debate, and it's not going to get anywhere. So as long as I got a good drum sound, that's really what it comes down to. And then I'm relying, like I said, on the producers, to get that sound for me. And luckily, I think it's been getting better and better. Eric's been getting better as a producer, and I think this is one of his best ones he's done for us. And I knew he had some new gear and some new, a new board and all that, and that probably contributes to a lot of it, to getting these sounds even better than they've been in the past. So that's a great thing. But man, yeah, just as long as it's in there and it sounds natural to me, I'm happy.
You're easy to please.
Hey, that's, you have to be, in a sense, man. Otherwise, I think if like I was just saying, otherwise we probably wouldn't be around here talking and be in a band for 35 years if we weren't able to compromise and just all kind of work together. It would be tough.
It is true. I can see that you guys definitely put the band ahead of yourselves as individuals, and I think that is the reason why 16 records.
Yeah, you're right. I think so too. I think that's a big key to success, because maybe a lot of bands don't make it because you got one or two stronger opinions, and then that's when things go awry, and bands break up or what have you. So we're fortunate to all be on that same page and to be have that common goal in mind, and have just great sounding Cannibal Corpse records and songs. I mean, that's exactly it. To be bigger than any individual, of course.
How important is for you guys the length of the album? Because we're living in an era where everybody has short attention span. Everybody listens to singles. I mean, metal fans in general still like to listen to a record from start to finish, but overall, it's a much different time period than when Cannibal Corpse was starting off. So how much attention to the length do you guys pay to?
Not a lot, but I think when you look back and you look at our whole catalog, I mean, we got fairly short albums, really. I think in the early days, I mean, we're pushing just barely 35 minutes. I think that was under contract, I believe, that Metal Blade, they had to have at least 35 minutes of music. And I think we were of the mentality, well, I know we were definitely, at least back then, more so of, we felt the shorter was the better. And I guess just, what a better album to talk about than Slayer, Rain and Blood, right? Not even a 30 minutes. And you're obviously one of the best of all time, that makes you, want to hear more and just makes you put it on again. It doesn't seem like it's a short album because it's just an amazing record. Not that comparing ourselves, of course, to Slayer in any means, but we had that mentality of like hit them hard, hit them fast like that, and let the listener be craving more, I suppose. So I think we'd all prefer probably between 35-40 minutes. I think when we look at our longer albums, that's almost kind of like, yeah, you go, wow, that album was 47 minutes or whatever. I think we had a couple that were about 45, a little over, and that seems a little long, this one, I don't even know what it's at. It's got to be around 35 or something as well, yes. I believe. Chaos, and
that's why I ask you that, because me personally, I prefer the shorter Cannibal Corpse. Yeah. Hits you quicker, but then you're able to go back at it all over again.
Exactly, and that's it. I think when we knew we were going to be recording this new record, especially so close after Violence Unimagined, which had 11 songs, and it's but we said, hey, let's stop it at 10. Let's just do 10 songs. That's it. We don't need to write anymore. Let's write 10 songs, and we did for Chaos, and just let's make these 10 songs count. Not that we never try to do that anyways. We always try to make every song the best song we can be. There's never any filler in any of our albums. We want to put everything we write, but we wanted to stop at 10. We didn't want to go, hey, let's write 13 and pick the best 10. No, let's just write 10. Let's concentrate on that. And yeah, I think you're right. I believe that we like the shorter records. I think it's better for the listener overall. I mean, that's my opinion. I'm glad you have the same opinion, but maybe some other people might have a different opinion. But yeah, I think the shorter, the better, really.
Yeah. It's one of those things that sometimes less is more.
Yeah, right. I totally agree. You
don't want to overindulge, because then when you overindulge, you feel like you're full, you can't move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't go back to it right away.
Right. And some bands might think, like, oh, we just, it's a new album. We need to put out as much as we can possible, and I guess we've sort of done that in previous albums. When you look at the albums that did have I think we had like Gallery of Suicide, or there's a couple albums where we have like 13 songs or, 14 songs or something like that. And, that was where we just didn't know when to stop writing. And then we felt we didn't want to neglect any of these songs, like just not that they would have got thrown to the side, but I'm sure they would have seen the light of day at some point. But maybe it would have been a more effective album to have it just 10 songs. Every album at being that might have been better. But yes, but it's definitely our mentality: hit them hard, hit them fast, and I think that's the best one.
Hit them when it hurts. As a creative person, as an artist, do you guys work on music because that is your way of releasing that creativity into what you do? Or do the records kind of become a reason to go on the road and perform, and maybe that's where the pot of gold is at the end of the rainbow for you?
It's a little of both, I suppose. I mean, you start playing music because you love it so much. You're a fan of music, and just listening to it isn't enough anymore. You want to play, you want to create your own. You want to be like you like your heroes, so you start out doing that, and it's just all about the music. I mean, it should always just be about the creativity in the music. Otherwise, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, I think. But it becomes luckily, I suppose, or depending on how you look at unluckily, it becomes a business. It becomes your job. It becomes your livelihood, and it's a little bit different then. It's not like you're just writing songs and playing a show every other month or something locally. You're actually, this is how you make a living. You need to go on the road to make the money. It turns into this business kind of a thing. So it's a little bit of both. I mean, yeah, I think it'd be tough to say, would we still be doing it maybe as much as we would if say, if no one bought our records and we're as old as we are now, and would we still want to go out and do a month, 6-week tour to come home with nothing? I mean, it might be a little tough to do that these days when you're older and you got bills to pay and houses and families. But maybe if you're in your 20s, of course it didn't matter really. But so I think it's a little bit of both, but the first and foremost, we love what we do, and we feel very fortunate that we were given this opportunity because of the dream you had like I was talking about, of wanting to play music, and not everybody gets to do it at this level, and we're very fortunate and lucky that we are. So yeah, it comes down to the cliches. I think you only live once, and life's too short, and follow your dream, all that kind of thing. And we're living it. So why wouldn't we want to just keep going and do the best we can? And yeah, like I said, fortunately, we're able to make the living, I guess, to keep us motivated even more so, because maybe things would be a little different at this point in your life if it wasn't that way.
You guys are not older. You guys are vintage, just like a fine
No.
wine. You get better with age. You know what I mean? It's not like bread that gets stale. You guys get better with age.
Yeah,
So,
well, I appreciate that. Yeah.
so and speaking of going on the road, you guys have this massive tour with Mayhem coming up. Last time you guys played in Toronto at the Danforth, sold out show with Dark Funeral. Now you guys are coming back to Toronto. I mean, this tour is going to hit all sorts of cities, but I'm obviously biased. I'm looking forward to the Toronto date on September 27th. I have it marked on my calendar. I'm not going to miss it.
Nice.
What can fans expect from this tour? Are you guys going to concentrate a little, because you were here recently? So are you going to concentrate more on this album?
Well, I mean, that's the tough thing now with 16 albums. What do you do here, right? I think it's apparent by just looking at what we've done in the past, where we want to cover all bases of Cannibal. I mean, of course, you want to promote the new record, which we will, but that just how many songs do you do then when you have 15 other albums that you need to choose songs for and people want to hear? So I mean, we're going to mix it up a little bit. Yeah, we'll play the couple new ones, the three new ones that we'll do, and then we'll do some of the older ones. There's going to always be those couple staples in the set, but yeah, it was time to mix it up a little bit. I guess I'll leave it more of a surprise. I know the show's not that far away and the tour's starting here, so we did bring back a couple of older songs that we haven't done in a while, just to kind of mix it up to make it seem a little more fresh. Because you need to do that, of course, now and then. So yeah, anybody that's seen us, say, on that last tour, the Toronto show, or anywhere else for that matter, you'll get a couple of songs that we're always going to do, but then you'll be, I think, treated to, of course, like I said, some new material, and then a couple of older ones that we just haven't done in a while. So I think that makes it a little bit more exciting, of course, for everybody.
Have you ever had a chance to sit back and look at the role that Cannibal Corpse has played in death metal as a genre, and the doors that it has opened for so many other bands that have followed?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, how can we not? We hear about it a lot through the upcoming bands over the years that were influenced by us and death metal and all that kind of thing. And I mean, it's just that's what makes you really keep going as well. It makes you feel good that you've accomplished something in life if you can really move somebody in that manner, fan and band alike. If somebody can pick up an instrument because of you, or right, you can help out in somebody's life if they're going through hard times, and your music gets them through that. I mean, it's just that's what it's all about. It really makes you feel that you've done something positive with your life and with your band. So yeah, I mean, I think it's hard not to hear about it, not to see it, since we've been around as long as we have. And when you talk to people, they bring it up all the time. So it's good to hear. I mean, it makes you feel good. And like I said, we're just happy that we have our place in history, and that it's a pretty good place. We'll take it. We've been like I said, getting back to what I was saying earlier, just lucky, a lot of hard work, luck involved. I mean, fortunate to be where we're at, and you got to make the most of it, and be happy with it. So I think we have been.
I remember as a young teenager discovering Cannibal Corpse, and seeing the CDs on sale at the local record store in Portugal. That's where I grew up. And I had never heard a single song, but what attracted me to the band was the artwork. And I was like, man, if the artwork looks like that, I can only imagine what's on the inside. You know what I mean? And such a selling point, and it's always been such a huge point of the band to have really provocative artwork and push the envelope with that artwork.
Right.
Is it easier or harder to push that envelope today?
That might be a little harder. I mean, back in the early days, of course, when it was new, it was maybe a little more, it was new. It wasn't really being done. I mean, obviously why we did it was we're doing what you did exactly. We when we went to the record stores to buy new music, or bands that we're just discovering, like, well, let's go and check it out. And how most of the stuff you're getting is because of the album cover at that point, right? You're looking at a Creator Endless Pain cover or something like that. You go, wow, that's brutal. I mean, hope the music is, and it ended up luckily being right. So a lot of the music we got back as teenagers was that the way you did it, right? So as fans of the music, we want to just take it to the next level. You start getting a little older, and our influence being Slayer and Sodom, and bands that are really pushing the envelope at that point with some of their covers. Well, we felt, well, we just need to take it to another step. We want to still be that fan that would walk into a record store and look at, like, exactly like Eating Back to Life and go, wow, I need this. I don't know what it is, but I need it, and I hope it's going to end up being, something good. But you had a feeling it was. I don't know why. It just, right. It went hand in hand like that.
For me, it was two things. You would look at the artwork, and you would look at the label that was releasing the album.
True.
Because it was like staples, right? Like Metal Blade. There was Megaforce. There was some staples around that time of the late 80s, early 90s that you knew that if the artwork was hitting and the label was behind it, the record would be good.
Yep, you're right. You're right. No, that was a big key. Yes, anything on Megaforce, on Combat, Metal Blade, exactly. It was always, you knew it was going to be probably really good. So it went hand in hand, of course, with Cannibal. I mean, and now it, like, get back to the full question. Like, nowadays, right? It's not new anymore. It's been there, done that. When you have albums like Butchered at Birth and Tomb of the Mutilated, and they're as old as they are now, in a sense. It's like, well, how do you top those covers? Really, it's a little tough to do that. So you just gotta, be creative and try to do something new. I think we did fairly well, like with Violence Unimagined. I think, man, what an album cover that turned out to be, rivaling the best ones we've got, like Butchered and Tomb. So, I think Chaos Horrific is a cool album cover, a little different than what we normally do. Obviously, to fit the theme of the album, Chaos Horrific, very chaotic cover, something more so than we don't have anything like that. So it might be getting a little tougher, but at the same time, I don't think it's as important either. And that's a testament to albums, say, like Kill, for instance. When we came out with Kill, and you have no cover, and it's just Cannibal Corpse, Kill. I mean, what's the selling point other than Cannibal Corpse? Okay, it's a new Cannibal Corpse record, let's get it. And luckily, I mean, the fans loved that record. It was a big album for us. It pushed us to a kind of the next level in a lot of ways. And why? It wasn't because of the cover. It was because of the music. So we always looked at, well, the music is going to be first and foremost, and then you want to have something cool to go along with it visually, of course. But I think it's not really as essential as it maybe was. And like I said, even back then, we weren't doing it because we felt we needed it. We just wanted to do it as fans of music. That's what we want to see. So I think it was important, always has been, but not maybe not as much so now. And just as long as it's something cool, something dark, something that fits the time. I mean, there's going to be better covers possibly than others, but man, Vince is a great artist. He does a great job on every one, and and I don't, there's not a bad cover we have. Maybe there's, of course, more brutal than others, of course. Everyone's going to have their opinions and their favorites and their least favorites, but that's just the way it goes. And that's just, as long as Vince is doing the work too, that's important for us.
One last question for you. Everybody these days is talking about the Super Bowl and who should perform at halftime. How about some Cannibal Corpse at halftime at the Super Bowl?
Man, that would be, hey, we'll take it. I don't think most of the world would want that, I suppose, but we'll take it. If we get that offer, I think it'd be tough to decline that, right?
I think it'd be great. I mean, considering the longevity of the band, the history of the band, what the band means in terms of North American death metal scene, and then what that death metal scene in North America did to the whole world as far as the genre is concerned. I mean, you guys are pioneers, so why not? Why not give you guys the nod and let you guys perform at halftime?
Hey, make that push, man. You make some calls, get the petition going, I guess, and we're in. That would be something. I mean, I don't know. It's crazy to even think that even could be possible. I mean, maybe it wouldn't be, maybe it would be, but just to think that we never thought we'd be doing what we're doing 35 years later, being, arguably, a mainstream in the sense of we're known throughout the world. We've been around for 35 years. People know who we are, and albeit we're death metal, it's crazy. Who would have thought Metallica would be doing what they're doing back in 1982, right? That's our band. That's our underground metal band. And look what they've become. So that just seemed almost impossible, but there they are. So I guess anything is possible. You never know. Maybe it still would always be too extreme. I guess that's for society, but to dictate, and if people change enough or be able to accept enough and get into it, which I think is happening. Maybe it's still too soon. Maybe we'll get that. Maybe it's beyond our, maybe we're still a little too early. Maybe there'd be talk about it, and then hypothetically, what's going to happen in 100 years from now? Maybe there is a death metal band, like a brutal death metal band that's playing the Super Bowl, or just some the biggest band in the world is a death metal band or something. It's possible, I guess, but
that's quite the thought, man. I'm if that's the future, sign me up.
I think it's going to be, man. I think it's going to be. It might be. We might not be around, unfortunately. But hey, at least, at least it's going in that direction, I think. So.
Well, it's nice to dream, at least, to see you guys one day perform at the Super Bowl, even if it's with some cameos from pop artists singing with you guys and whatever. I don't care. Just to have a band like you guys, I think you guys would deserve that nod, and for what you guys have done for the genre, for what you guys have done for metal. I think it needs to be recognized at a higher level. So
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. No, thank you. It'd be an honor, of course. So it would be amazing. You never know what could happen, but I appreciate it. That's good to hear that you feel that way, and that's awesome. So.
Paul, thank you very much for your time, man. I'll see you guys in Toronto, September 27th at the Danforth, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mayhem. So see you on their tour run. Good luck with the album release, and stay safe on the road once you guys start this tour up.
All right, Pedro. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for the interview, and we'll see you in a couple weeks in Toronto. It's gonna be a great one.
Take care, man. All the best.
All right, take care, man. Bye-bye.